YA Nightcap. As you see, we have an incredible group of young adults, YA millennials. I don't know what to call y'all. Just well, you know what? Nieces and nephew. That's who y'all really are. Nieces and nephew. That the more importantly, see the great thing about being me is that all I gotta do is pick up the phone and my nieces and nephews will come to the rescue and they will just salvage and save me. And so welcome to Nightcap. It's gonna be amazing tonight. We're gonna have an incredible conversation. We have some awesome young people who are here. I know their parents all very well. We're all family. And when I say nieces and nephew, I literally mean that they are that to me as my children are to their parents. And then, of course, the best co-host next to my wife, the best co-host, the Dr. Sharice. I feel like Steve Harvey, bringing you to the front. Dr. Sharice. And so we're going to turn it over now to her, and I guess we're going to start by by having our guests tonight introduce themselves, and then Doc, you go ahead and do your thing. I'm going to be sitting here monitoring the NBA Finals while listening to you guys. No. I mean, I'm all in. I'm all in. But somebody, Josh, has got to make sure that the NBA Finals is working. Deja, your cousin, says hey, and Aunt Kim, Mama Kim, McKissick has already chimed in. So, Josh, your mama's making sure that you're not crazy. Hey, you're Christian. Last week, your mama was on like commenting. I'm like, oh God.
I don't think it's any different.
So let's start. Alani, go ahead and crank it up for us.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Alana McCarter. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm not going to talk about myself too much right now. I think as we get into this amazing conversation, you'll learn enough about me to judge for yourself who I am. But yeah, I'm from North Carolina. Own a few businesses, work in ministry with my parents, Bishop Sheldon and Co-Pastor Dorothy McCarter. And like my uncle said, we're family. So I'm excited to be here and talk with my cousins and them.
My other niece. Who are you, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Christian Thomas. Hello, everyone. I am the daughter of Bishop Lee Alfred William Thomas Sr. and Lady Thomas. I'm super excited to be here tonight. I'm so glad that Uncle John gave me a quick text and said, hey, can you do this? And things worked out. I'm really just, a blessed, woman, daughter of the King. Honestly, like life is just, Kiara Sheard has that song. It keeps happening for me. And that's what life is. And so I'm blessed to be here and excited to get the conversation going with these two amazing PKs.
And the man on it, the brother, I had to get a brother to represent. And I was just thinking, who can I get? And something said, your nephew needs to come out. Because he got a whole lot to say. And in fact, yo, nieces, he kind of broke my heart. But we'll talk about what he did. I know you had to. But I just want you to know I wore his red shirt because I love you, man.
It's a terrible color, but it's okay because it's still my favorite color.
Don't even. We got to go ahead that conversation. Last week we had the alpha. This week we got the outie one. I can't say it. I mean, my nephew just done let me down. Okay, it's on you, Josh. What's up, man? Who are you?
Hello, everybody. I am Joshua McKissick, the son of Bishop Rudolph Waldo McKissick Jr. and Lady Kimberly Jordan Nichols McKissick. I'm a recent Hampton University graduate. Graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Sports Management. And man, my journey getting to Hampton and getting out of Hampton, it literally made who I am today. And you'll learn more about me as we talk too. But I'm extremely blessed to have this opportunity to talk to everybody, and just extremely blessed to be in this position I'm in now. So. It's on.
Sharice, it's on you, dear.
Wow. So, looks like we got a group of dynamic individuals. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can't.
Good. Yeah, we're going to touch on some great topics tonight. we really want to home in on transitioning, right, and identity. And so we just gonna jump right into it. But y'all stretch your hands my way to make sure my technology act right tonight. Because I have some questions for you all. And so in the midst of you all being where you are right now, okay, let's talk about where you are right now. Because at some point you had to say to yourself, I want my own identity, and I want to do it Christ's way. At what point was that?
Today.
Woo! Man. So like, what does that look like? I mean, because technically your parents, sometimes our parents and the type of parents that you all have already set and said to themselves the path that you're going to take. But then something in you said, listen, I got to find my own path, my own identity. What did that look like? When did that start? Anyone can go first.
I guess I can start. I think the number one thing that, my parents let me know was that this journey was not, my path was not theirs. It was mine. It was for me to decide. And it wasn't anybody at our churches to decide either. People like to say, oh, you're going to be the next singer. You're going to be the next praise and worship leader, the next evangelist. And my parents would say, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? And, people did really think that I was going to go to school for music. And I kind of shocked everybody when I said, hey, I'm going to Florida A&M University for journalism. It really wasn't something that they thought I would do. They knew I loved to watch the news. Tamron Hall was like my girl. We would watch the Day Show every morning, but they didn't think that I wanted to do news. So I kind of shocked everyone with that. But me and my parents sat down and they said, is this something that you want to do? I said, yes. Me and God had already had this conversation. I said, look, I have never done this a day in my life. Singing is in my bones. I know that at the back of my head. I don't know this, but I need to know that there is something, more to me than just my voice. Right. Not that my voice wasn't enough, but I had been born into this. I knew that my voice was anointed. I knew that I was gifted and God had, put his hand on my life. But my thing was, I wanted to know that I could make it if I didn't have my chords. You know what I'm saying? And so kind of how I started and kind of how I got here. But like I said, it was a lot of prayer because I was like, I got into school and, all of us can attest to this, but, you get in the class and you're like, did I really mean to choose this major? Yeah. And so that was me for, a good majority of the time. But as I began to go on, I realized that my mom always has a thing that says, work the plan. And, I got on my own path, working the plan. And then all of a sudden I started seeing God is ordering my steps every single step of the way. Even when I felt like things weren't going to work, he, constantly showed his affirmation and his sign that he was there with me. And so I think, in finding your path, you have to make sure that you have a strong foundation in your faith, because it's not going to be an easy walk, because there'll be moments of doubt, and that just leaves an open door for the enemy to creep in and make his own path, can make a quick detour into somebody else's lane. But you have to make sure that you're not living in somebody else's path, that you're walking yours.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so I was just determined I wasn't going to be the stereotypical PK, the one where they're just like, oh, you got to do ministry because your parents want you to. No, because what if I'm just simply not called to do that? We're in the background a lot and we're in the forefront a lot. And so I think there's an inherited pressure that we automatically face because there's a level of entitlement that we are exposed to that we have to overcome personally, because being in our shoes, there are privileges that we get that we can never negate that have shaped us into the exposure of opportunities that we each have, like right now before our eyes and in our lives. But I was personally determined, like, okay, one, if I can't preach, I'm not preaching, because I'm not about to bore nobody, because I know how I feel about preachers that can't preach. So you're not about to talk about me. So I'm about myself. That's the first thing. The second thing is I was committed to not being pressured to become an idealistic version of like, okay, you got to be the girl to go to school for ministry, get your degree, Like my dad, we still go back and forth now, and I'm older. I'm in my 30s, so we go back and forth now about the MDiv that I never got. Like we literally argue about this consistently, probably I would say once every other month because I have my master's degree and other things, and I'm going back to school for something completely different because I just never felt that I had to go get my divinity degree to be understood behind the book. Now, I never could sing, so me and God had to really like go back and forth about that because I just didn't understand why he didn't anoint me to sing. Like, why he didn't do that? I just don't understand. I still don't understand it to this day. So I knew that I didn't want to, dishonor like being in ministry because I really love it. Like I do love helping my parents. I love my church family, but at the same time, I learned the things that I did not like that I was exposed to in this journey, and I was determined that I'm going to create this path that dismisses and makes me absent from the things that I don't like. So that's why I started doing my business. And then it's like, how can we be in ministry with our parents, learn all this word, but we can't hear God for ourselves?
That's
right. If we really hear God for ourselves, then we are able to, walk into our own path because we're led by Holy Spirit.
Absolutely. What's up? What you got for us, Josh?
I'd say more so me, with my father and my grandfather both being pastors at the Bethel Church, most members of the church expected me to, continue that legacy and, take on the church when I got older to be the bishop, pastor, whatever God called me to be. I never really saw myself doing that. And it's funny, people still to this day, they think I'm going to eventually go on to pastor the Bethel Church, but that was just something that I don't think God, well, I won't say yet, but at least right now in the moment, God hasn't called me to do that. I won't say that he hasn't period because you never know what God will call you to do in the future, but on my journey right now, I just feel like that wasn't my task. It was a bumpy road leading, like going on my journey. Learned a lot, been through a lot of challenges. God will put you through challenges to see certain situations in a different light. But it's just crazy how you can go from on one end of the stick. You think everything is set up the way you want it to go. You got your path written out. You think, yeah, this is going to be it. And then as you go on your journey, it just turns to a whole different deep. And I don't want to spoil any of your questions, so I won't get into deep of that. But it's
no.
I was about to say, because originally I was supposed to go to Full Sail University in Orlando, but God put forth to me, certain situations, and he canceled that out, and I went up to Hampton University, and it was just a different atmosphere for me, and I had to change my path of how I was doing things, but also my path of where do I want to be in the next 4 years with my life and my career. So it was challenging, going into something that you not necessarily knew what you were going to do, or something that just changed so quickly. But it was for the better, I will say, and I definitely did learn a lot. A lot of friends, you learned a lot about your friends or those who you think are your friends. But I will say this journey, it did teach me that patience is a virtue. You can't rush what God has in store for you. You never know what God has in store for you. You just trust in him and it will make a way. But preaching, I never saw that to be my calling. I set it up how I wanted to be set up and just continue on my path with sports. So, that's pretty much that.
Gotcha. So I mean, it sounds like you all wanted to do not necessarily preach, still love God, love the word of God, but create your own path, right? Were you afraid that whatever you were going to do or whatever you chose would disappoint your parents?
Nah. No. I don't say like that, but no, because I feel like I firmly believe that if our parents love us the way they say they do, and they do, then they owe us the opportunity to experience life and make our own decisions, make our mistakes, and learn from our mistakes. And I won't even say mistakes because you know the whole PK children are the worst children. First of all, no, we're not. We're actually the smartest, most brilliant kids on this entire planet because we're able to emasculate 87 personalities in one moment. Okay, we can be the praise and worship leader, even if we can't sing. We can be the executive pastor. We can be the intercessor. We can be the media team. We can be the greeter. We can be the hospitality, and we can cutthroat and get you together when you do our parents wrong. Okay, so we're the real team because what we gonna do, we gonna protect our parents because we're not really thinking about nobody but our parents. Okay, so even if it's a mess at home with our parents, y'all ain't never know because we have a responsibility. So no, I don't think that my parents were ever upset with any decision that I made. I think personally, it was more so like Josh just said, what God has for you is for you. And if you patiently wait, I'm a firm believer, you can't miss what God has for you. It doesn't matter if you try, you're not gonna miss it. So it's our responsibility to go in confidently in the path that, you know, we're supposed to go in. The Bible says we can make our plans, but God orders our steps. That's what the Bible says. So we can plan all day long. I started at Hampton, left Hampton, went to UNCG. Went to Central, left Central, went to UNCG, graduated, then went to A&T and pursued a PhD in 2 other programs and still didn't finish. My path is a mess. But here I am able to talk on this platform with authentic people who have influence, exposure, and impact. Because somewhere, even in what didn't seem seemingly okay, it's still purposefully right. So, yeah.
Wow. Anybody else chime in?
Definitely. My parents were, they, like I said, they were shocked a little bit when they found out, I wanted to kind of change. I don't want to say change paths, but change direction in what I was going to do. But the last thing they did was doubt, my relationship with my Heavenly Father in that sense. They knew that I had a spiritual connection that did not include them. I think some pastors' kids, they have a spiritual connection, but they have, this middleman, which is the parents, interceding on their behalf. Not that my parents weren't doing that, but they knew that I had my own communication, with our Heavenly Father, just saying, listen, God, and the way I communicate is like, it's different, communication level for everybody else. I'm just talking in the car like, listen, God, I know what you're doing, but this is what I'm saying. I know I have a dream. I have a goal. I just need you to bless it. I need you, like you said, I believe my steps are ordered regardless, of what happens, the things that come in our life. I just need God to bless this. And listen, if it's not for you, He's still going to cover you while you're in it. And I think people have to understand that we are, though we're pastors' kids, we are people. We are people, just like our parents. And lots of people like to judge, when things happen and, oh, somebody did this and the pastor's kid did this. That doesn't matter. We're people first, because if we came into your household, we ain't gonna go there. We ain't gonna go there, because if we came in your household, it's a different story. But we're entitled to our mess ups. We're entitled to heartbreaks. We're entitled to everything that your child has. At the end of the day, I feel like my parents were more than supportive of both my brother and myself and what we chose to do. But the thing is, we never forsake what ministry was to us. We love ministry, can't do without it. And so because that was ingrained to us, our love for God is just, we can't go without it. So I think that's another reason our parents were so supportive of us, because they knew the foundation that they had laid for us.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Christian and Alana said, I
have a question.
I'm sorry. Just to piggyback on what they said, I feel like, all of our parents really, they entrusted us to do the right thing. And of course, nobody's perfect, not even us as PKs. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have our mess ups. But I just feel like our parents knew that in their hearts that, we would eventually do the right thing. Because like Christian said, they laid that foundation down for us. So they really had no worries about us or what we were doing. But yeah, like you said, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So
directly for you, because I want to go back to something that you said about following in your father's and your grandfather's footsteps, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though the pressure, are you the only boy?
Yes, I am the only boy, 2 sisters. Oh.
Did we lose it?
That's what happens every week. You'll be back. Okay, so let's go. First of all, let me tell y'all. I'm doing a behind the scenes thing, right? But you guys are so well spoken. I am so crazy proud of you, and the comments and the responses are amazing. And yes, you are adults. Alexis put in the chat. Josh, you're an adult.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, she's back. Girl, we are praying for your Wi-Fi. Tell your daughter to stick her leg up.
I don't know what's going on, but y'all.
I'm here. No, you.
Pray for this. I don't know what's going on. Okay, Josh. So the weight, right? Your grandfather is a pastor, a bishop of a mega church. Your father is a bishop of a mega church. You're the only son, and there's a legacy, I'm sure, that your father and your grandfather talks about, and you say, listen, preaching is not something that I want to do right now. Okay, and are you like, at some point did you have to put your foot down and say, hey, I get the legacy talk, but this ain't it for me?
Nah, I never had to seriously put my foot down. My father or my whole family really, they always encourage whatever you want to do. Your decision is your decision. Your life is your life. So they never really pressured me. But of course, they would make jokes about it. But they always let me, do what I want to do and create my own path to be the person who I want to be and the person who God, instilled for me to be. So never really felt any hard pressure.
No hard pressure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. I mean, if I'm a doctor, and I tell my daughter, it's only 3 things you can be in this life, and you need to choose wisely, and one of them includes being a doctor. So, because I want to have a daughter, so she's a part of me, and she's a legacy. So I'm speaking as a parent here. You understand? So, and as the only son. It would be an expectation, but I get it. So, but that's a part of finding your path. So that speaks to the type of parents that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then that speaks to the type of support system that you have.
Right.
Okay. So let's talk about your parents and how they've supported you in the process of finding your path, because I'm sure you all have made some mistakes. Right? Major mistakes where they've had to have some, your parents have had to have some serious sit down conversations with you. Let's talk about, I guess, and I want to say the appreciation and the value of the support that they have when they're in the limelight and you're making mistakes that could bring possible shame to what the family is doing or give people a reason to blaspheme the Lord, because we've all done it. I've done it. Let's talk about that.
I would say ladies first.
So I appreciate my parents for being unconditional and standing with me through everything. I think I wouldn't say I did anything to embarrass. Okay, so I think there's a difference between embarrassment and lack of understanding the timing of experience. And so maybe some of my experiences were improperly timed. So, for instance, I think the largest thing that I experienced from my family, because I also come from a lineage of all pastors, pastorship runs 13 generations deep in my family. So from my great grandfather, all my uncles and my aunt, who's the only female, are all pastors. And so I think I've never brought shame, but I was just so, I was gonna be married and have a family. So I think I just maybe moved a little too fast on that. And when I had to walk through my separation and divorce, my parents was covering me. My church members were trying to figure out what was going on because they didn't know at the beginning. And at first I kind of was like, yo, I can't be the bishop's daughter getting a divorce. And I had personal shame more so than embarrassing them. I didn't want them to be upset, like I failed at something. And so I'm using that as a transparent moment to appreciate them, because that moment made me have to come back home to reevaluate things like financially, my decisions, what's next for me. It just kind of put me in a season of seclusion, you know, and it was real difficult. But it had it not been for my parents, right? And those church members that really love like me, because, you know, it's some of your church members only love your parents, which means they really don't love you or the church, because they only love your parents, because you can't love my parents and not love me too. So I was thankful for those church members that really loved me and what I was going through. So that appreciation goes back to helping us love our ministries and love our people, because that's a part of our path. That's who we are. And so I think they just were unconditional. My entire family, you know, it was just like, okay, hey, this is what happened. We're about to keep it moving, and somebody's son gonna marry me, and that's just what it is.
Wow.
No, but I can appreciate this for talking about that, because you know, when you address that on social media and you kind of addressed everything that was happening, that was such a strong moment. And I just have to credit you and your faith for that, because that was a very strong moment. For me, we've all done things. But you know, I don't want to say I come from like an extremely strict household, because I don't, but things were made clear. You represent more than just you. You represent your parents. Well, God first, you know, then your parents, then yourself, you know what I'm saying? So you just have to be extra careful. Not saying that I lived my life walking on eggshells, but the one thing that did help me is that I went away to school. I was able to go to a place where nobody knew my parents. Well, not nobody. Not true. But, you know, it wasn't like when I walked on campus, it wasn't like, oh, you're Bishop Thomas's daughter and, you know, this, that, and the third. Some people did, in fact, know. But, you know, I was away from them. I had a chance to figure out who I was as a person, the people I liked hanging out with. You know, I got a chance to live a full college experience. I went to Florida A&M University. And, hey, they're known for the parties. I went to a couple. So just be honest, let's be real. But, you know, the thing is, I didn't get consumed in what other people did that might have gone to the university. You know, I lived, I enjoyed, but I stayed true to who I was. And my parents knew that they were comfortable enough with me and how they raised me to send me off, and that I would be okay. Not saying that they didn't pray for me every day, like, Lord, don't let it get caught up in something. But, you know, they had, you know, strong faith in what the foundation they laid for me. So when it comes to their support, I'm extremely grateful. I look back at pictures now and I'm like, man, I am so glad I was placed in this family at this time. I have that crazy brother and that loving mother, and, you know, and that wonderful dad. Oh my gosh, I just love my parents so much, and my brother. And that's a line of what you said. I will fight for my family. That's for real. And that's what it is. We're going to talk about this.
Y'all like to throw them hands, don't y'all?
That come on our parents. Let's be real, because when it comes to family now. But I'm done.
My Lord, Josh, you want to add anything to that? I want to say, well, real quick. There's a question, and I actually like the question. I was gonna come back to a question that Shane asked. But Josh, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say something about or to answer the question before we ask Shane's question.
The support from my family is it's unbelievable, actually, because the things that, you know, I've done personally in my past, you know, some parents probably wouldn't have allowed their kids to, you know, have a second chance and go to, you know, another school and, you know, get their path situated out and, you know, just figure out who they truly are. So I have, you know, the utmost respect for my family, and I'm truly grateful for them for, you know, giving me the opportunities that they have through my mess ups and mistakes. So, you know, that's all I'll say.
Absolutely. I think that sometimes we forget that our parents are oftentimes our biggest cheerleaders, even when we're doing good and when we're doing wrong. And that's why we tell people, you know, try Jesus. Don't try me when it comes to our parents, because I throw hands. But nevertheless, the next question, Shane Coleman has a question, and he says, what are your thoughts about pastors who bring their kids before the church when they make a mistake, especially when church members don't bring their kids before the church to confess, but you all have to stand before the church to confess your sins. What are your thoughts about that?
We all like, what?
This is a deep question. I don't think, first of all, your personal life, your family is your personal business. There's no reason why your child should be put on Front Street. It's different from, when we're, our parents are up in the pulpit or mom's singing or, and we're, in the pews playing and you say, hey, that's different. If your child makes a mistake and then they're put on Front Street, that causes issues in your personal life. I would never want to come to my father or my mother if they're going to condemn me publicly. There's no reason why, I would want to share. And one thing, me and my parents, of course, LJ, well, we have open door policy. We can share anything. And they're going to sit there and talk to us about the situation. The church has no right to be in my personal business just because I'm placed in this, ministry. And I have to commend Open Arms because they have always been so supportive of our family and they have never done this in any way, which is why I'm like, man, this is a crazy situation. But they don't have room in your personal life like that. And I think as a pastor, as ministry leaders, they're putting their family before the church when you do that. And I don't think that's right on either side.
Well, I believe, and I'll say this, that there, as a pastor's kid, right, there is a part of your life that will never be private. Unfortunately, you don't have all total privacy because God didn't create it that way. There's a part of your life that has to be on the spotlight, or that has to be in the spotlight for the glory of God. So he built and equipped you enough to handle the backbiting, the public eye, the criticism, the ridicule, because he knew it was coming. So a part of what you do, because you are, quote unquote, as we use the term today, a public figure, it will never be private. You can't run from certain things. You can't hide from it because that is who God made you. He gave you great parents so you can be greater. So unfortunately, I think that the great thing about it is it forces you, it puts you in a place where it puts you at an advantage, right? To have a level of wisdom, right? And a level of discipline and restraint, right? Knowing that others are watching. So you have an advantage there, but unfortunately, you have a disadvantage because others are watching. And so your life is not as private as you would like it to be. So, I think that someone was going to say something, but I just wanted to say that because I don't want you guys to feel like, yes, you should have privacy, but there's a part of this, of the gift, I won't even say gift, of the journey that you're on, where you at some point you're going to have to embrace the fact that your life is for the glory. It just is what it is. You can't shake it. You can't run from it. It just is what it is. And your mistakes and all, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All of it. It's for the glory. And it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't feel like it when it's hurting, right? And when it's public. But it makes you stronger because you're not dead yet, right? And it gives you wisdom because now you know how to move. So, but praise God, your pastors never, your parents never sacrifice you for the sake of making themselves look good.
Yeah, and I just think that's with order. I tread lightly when I speak on this because I've never experienced it, but also because I just feel like our parents are confident in the positions that they are in because they understand that they don't have to prove anything to anyone, and their first ministry is their home. And so for me, I personally would have a struggle with any person or leader that feels that it's okay to publicly blaspheme, for lack of better words, the era of your children, because that leaves a disdain of rejection in your children that takes a long time to heal. We're still healing from things that we don't discuss that happen in church. And when we say like that PKs really only understand PKs, it's for real, you know, and I don't care if you got 80,000 members or 8 members. If things are done right, there is a level of understanding that we understand. Like, we can look at each other and be like, you already know, like that's just a boundary that you don't cross. And so to that person that asks that, like, if you know somebody that's experienced that, or if you've experienced that, I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize as your fellow PK confidant, because that's an act, you know, that makes me say, what kind of accountability does your parents have before them? And I think that's the one thing that I can appreciate, is that all of our parents, even in their highest level of successes, even like Uncle Bishop, even in their highest levels, they have accountability to help them, you know, not blaspheme or make errors that can really stain their kid for a long time.
Let me jump in and ask a question. First of all, the last 2 weeks have been amazing, and Sharice, thank you for your sensitivity to what is, you know, because it's funny. I'm a PK, right? I'm a PK. So I remember one day, Josh and nieces. I remember one day I was like 12 or 13, and my father's church wasn't that big of a building. So I heard 2 ladies talking in the bathroom about my dad, like dogging him out about a decision he made. And they walk out and they see me and they go, "Oh, John, we love you so much." And that was the first time I ever wanted to tell people in church they could go someplace, right? And so when I went to my mom and told my mom what happened, her response to me was, "You got to learn to love people regardless of how they treat you." And I spent years working through that moment, even after I became a pastor. What have you learned about relating to people as a people? Look at Josh's face. you should have seen all of your faces. Like all 3 of you went to the cynical. Christian was like, "Okay, I do camera for a living. I can't show what I really feel." Oh, that was hilarious. When I tell you, you 3 just blessed my whole soul. Oh my God. And you're right, a lot. And all of the PKs live in a world that people don't understand, especially in the Black church. Like, the Black church treats your parents either like kings and queens or like indigent servants. Come on, Christian, right? And your life can change. You could go from being on top of the world where people cook you breakfast to where you go to McDonald's.
Okay, that's me right now. Okay, you want to keep it hot. Okay.
One of the things I miss about the pandemic is Sunday breakfast. I don't even know if I miss preaching. I miss Sunday breakfast, right? I miss eating breakfast with my family on Sunday, right? You know, at church in the conference room. But it's interesting. What have you guys learned about relating to people? You know, I mean, because I'm sure all of you got that story of discovering that people you thought really loved your parents and loved you were actually cutting their throat. And what have you learned about relating to people? And how has it affected you now as a young adult and how you relate to others? How deep is that question? Okay, I'm coming off. Do your thing.
I'll start off to say again, patience. Because, you know, church folks, they'll say what they want to say, but 10 years later, they'll try to, revert on what they say, and they didn't mean it in that light. But so I just feel, with people, you have to be patient. Some people, they often say the wrong things at the wrong time. They don't think before they say things, and they don't analyze their surroundings before they say things. So you just have to be patient with people. That's what I say.
I think that's I agree with you, Josh. I think it's a very deep question. Like you said, it's a very deep question. I think people have to understand that regardless of how you may feel about a decision that your bishop, pastor, leader makes, this person sacrificed a lot just to stand in front of you every Sunday, Wednesday, pray for you Monday through Sunday. They go through a lot. The thing is, they still have their own personal lives that they have to deal with. So I'm praying for you and your family and your struggles. And then I have to get in front of, well, now a camera, and talk to you and minister to you. And, I'm dealing with my own struggle. I want to be with my family. I want to do these different, things. And when you put, this is a difficult subject for me because I get very emotional about, us and how we do ministry. When you put your mouth on ministers of the gospel and you know nothing about a situation, or you put your mouth on minister because of something you heard, be careful. Be very careful, because listen, it's not just the other people who want to hear the tea listening. It's God listening too, because you'll talk about somebody and put your mouth on the man of God and get cut in other ways. You'll find other parts of your life declining because of what you said. And the thing is, they're still feeding you week to week. They're still, giving you the encouragement that you need to make it day by day. So don't be fooled that you're getting away with something. For you, John, it was different because you heard it. And yes, I've heard it. And I've been right in front of somebody who said, oh, Christian, you gained weight. And they think it's something that, whether it literally, we're in the forefront, like you said, every week. And, it comes with a price. People are watching you. They notice when you gain weight. They notice when your hair's not cute. They notice when that outfit is right, the dress is tight. You got to be careful who you talk about. And, do not touch thine anointed is a serious term. So I think people have to be serious. But, I also have to say this because Alana touched on this. When you are a pastor's kid, I feel like it's our job to be our parents' protectors in a sense. I feel like we're supposed to be at the watch gate, so if you're trying to come from my parents, and I pray for this all the time. If you come from my parents, look, I'm going to be right here at the gate, because I'm not going to let you touch mine. They're here praying for you. While they're praying for you, I'm protecting them from you. I'm praying that who they're praying for aren't praying on them. Yeah. So I think it's a very important situation. I'm getting all upset about it. So I'm going to let y'all go ahead.
That's real great, because just to kind of like align quickly and briefly. So like Bishop was saying before he had went back to watch the finals or whatever. When he was saying you can go from the palace to like a pit experience. I mean, honestly, I think one of my strongest attributes is that I'm real and I'm authentic. And so we lost our church building like a little over a year ago. And so to see what my parents built from the ground up, be depleted and taken from them in such an aggressive manner, and to see 80% of people that said they would never, ever betray us literally make memes about my father, our family. We were the headline story in North Carolina for like a month straight. And even still, they wrote an article just like a couple weeks ago because another ministry was blessed enough to buy what we built. They can never take the fact that we built that, right? So, but when it comes to relating to people, your life can change drastically in the blink of an eye in ways that you have never or could have ever expected. And so when it comes to relating to people, I have honestly learned what the grace message really is about. For me, it's not about covering up mistakes or giving you the opportunity to regain your posture from making a mistake that you could have chose not to make. for me, the grace message is learning how to love unconditionally those persons that have pierced your entire soul and crushed your existence, to be able to love and believe in people every day of your life when you have to not, when you don't know if you're protected or you don't know if you're guarded, but having the ability to still have vulnerability and be accessible to people, to minister to them in a very different season of your life. It says a lot about understanding who God is and the ability that he gives you to love his people. Because let me just be like 100% with you. I can count on my finger how many preachers' kids reached out to me and they knew about us losing our church building and meant it though from their hearts. I can count like on my finger how many pastors really like looked out for my pops legit and wanted to really know what happened, not what they speculated, not trying to assume on egotistical politics, but literally because they have the heart of God, they wanted to know what's really good. And like Chris was saying, not the tea. And so even now, still seeing the residue of that, it's still very present, but that's taught me how to relate to people. That's why I now see why pursuing my path the way that I'm pursuing it. It's okay to have other influences outside of the sphere of a church building. It's okay to have businesses. It's okay to have corporate America. It's okay to build relationships. But that lesson has taught me that how you do anything is how you do everything. Those same people that spoke against us are the same people that are not prospering in their jobs. They're stuck in a cycle. They're stuck in their cognition because there's something internally in them that they really have not allowed the Lord to deliver them from. They sit under the word, but they don't feed their soul. So they're not changing and they're not delivered. So therefore, they are in more of a default than I will ever be, because I understand that if God did it before, he can do it again and again. And what he does forever. And so that's where their relatability comes in with people.
That's good.
I just dropped the mic.
So I have a question to you, Alana, because you talked about earlier, you mentioned about hurt. You said finding my path while still healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to talk about first of all, that story was amazing because I'm sitting here trying to play in my mind how that would look. My mom is deceased and my dad lives in Orlando, but I'm thinking to myself, how does that look? There are a lot of people that stop going to church because they say, I don't do church people. It's church people. And so you guys deal with church people all the time, but yet it does not shake nor make you say, okay, I ain't doing this no more. Now, there are some that will say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. Mm-hmm. But you guys stayed in the fire, right? You stayed in the fire. So what makes you, because you're healing, what keeps you from being bitter?
Yeah. So definitely my parents have always talked, well, my mom specifically, she's like, never allow a situation to make you bitter, always come out better, right? And if I'm saying that I trust God with the entirety of my life, no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how challenging it gets, I have an obligation to obey the word of God and to partner with the process. I have an obligation to honor the season that I'm in, no matter if I agree with it, because understand too, as PKs, we also pay, I don't want to say we pay the price for our parents' decisions, but we are influenced in our lives by decisions that they make that we can never, ever account for because of our lineage and our attachment. And so for me, I refuse to carry bondage where I want a breakthrough. I refuse to believe that defeat is going to be my final resting place. I refuse to believe that dysfunction and disappointment is supposed to be my normalcy. I refuse to believe that just because there are a bad batch of people that I cannot love, I refuse to believe that just because my heart broke on one side, that it cannot heal into wholeness. I refuse to believe that I cannot have millions of dollars, homes, material things here on earth that equate to the enjoyment of life just because we lost one thing. Like, I refuse to believe that, because if that was the case, then what has this whole journey been for? Like, who am I if I can't allow God? You said it, that it's for his glory. Who am I if I cannot allow God to get the glory out of my life in the most difficult times of my life? Who am I? Who am I when I say that I trust God and that he can stand before me, and that if he is before me, then who can be against me when everything is gone and he's all I have and I'm not trusting? Like, what? How does that add up? And I say that I want the blessings of God. So I owe myself the opportunity to heal into wholeness, because it requires for the generational curses that I'm going to break. It requires this so that I can restore my family at my hands through the ability that God has given me. I see myself saying, okay, Dad, where you want to go buy a building? You want to move to Texas and start a church? Because you called to do it wherever we go. If you want to get out of North Carolina, let's go. Wherever the soles of our feet shall tread, we're going to rule the land. It's just my obedience. So I'm required to be obedient. I'm required. So I have to heal. Because if I don't heal, I'm disobedient. And I'm just staying in a holding pattern. Sorry, just kind of, it took me just a little bit.
Josh and Christian, jump in now, because even though you all haven't had that journey,
Wow.
Josh,
Wow.
what is it that you have experienced? Because you started out by saying you had your own journey, and you talked about starting one school, right, and ending in another. Just kind of talk about your journey and piggyback on that whole healing thing. Because honestly, Pastor McCarter, you kind of open up. No, for real. I would sow into you, but I got to pay my car note tomorrow. So, but catch me after your daddy, invite me. Did I give you the song? But Josh, Christian, tell us about how you've gone through your processes of healing, because all of you have had to do that.
Man, whenever somebody does something to me or my family, I tend to think about what my grandfather would do, because he's the more sane one out of all of us, I shall say. So I'll just think about what would Rudolph Waldo McKissick Sr. do in this situation? Would he really clap back at this person because they said this, that, and that, or would he really get into because they said this about my family, or I'm about to go out to their house and do. Nah, you gotta, people are growing every day, no matter what age they are. People are still experiencing different things. So it's up to you to decide whether you're going to entertain the foolishness the devil is putting in front of you or not. And my grandfather, he does a very good job of doing that. And I feel he's done a very great job of teaching all of us, how to just be one with ourselves. And when things do get hard, just relax your body, relax your mind, think about what would God do, and just project that onto that person and try to bring them into wraps of what you're trying to do and get them to calm down too, to make the whole situation better as one.
And yeah, I definitely agree with you, Josh. I think for me, I'm in this area, in this place. I'm in recovery, I would like to say, because I've been through, and you could probably tell, like, the things that my family has gone through in a moment of transparency, for the past 2-3 years has been painful on a level that I couldn't imagine. And the thing is, I watched my parents not be able to display their emotions. And so it felt like I was almost trapped in the middle of it, because I couldn't say anything. One, I wasn't there with them. I couldn't say, I was here, trying to start, and continue my path. And I had to kind of figure out what was going on within me. So, like you said, Alana, you had to talk to your mom. I had to talk to my mom too. And she had to say, listen, you have to continue to show the love. And I'm like, why are we always loving, but we're getting, stabbed in the back? And at the end of the day, we don't do this job unto people. We do it unto God. And every Sunday we come in and we set up. We're there from the moment the doors open until they close. We don't do this enough. We do this because we love it, and it's our assignment, and we've been called to this. And it makes me emotional at this moment, because people will never know the pain and the hurts that our parents deal with, and we have to watch. I think at some point it almost becomes traumatic, in some places in life, because it's like the weight of it to even lead a ministry, to lead hundreds and thousands of people to the throne of God, and then continue to follow up with them every day. It is hard. And they preach their hearts out Sunday, and they got to lay down at night and get back up in the morning, and somebody's already called, Bishop, I need this. Bishop, I need that. Sometimes before they even go get their breakfast, before they say, good morning, baby, they got another issue to deal with. So it's hard to, like I said, that's why I said I'm in recovery, because even though I love my church, I really do, it's people. It's just people. You got to deal with people. And, I just really thank God every day for keeping his hand on my parents, and, for allowing, our church to be so supportive and to hold him up in those times. But I'm so grateful, especially for my mom, because the prayer that she has to, she's in her work closet every day. She's in her work closet when she's not even in the closet. She's driving in the car praying for my dad, because you have to think about it. This is not a normal lifestyle. And people like to make it normal and say, oh, PK this, PK that. It's a circle like you've never experienced before. And it's lonely. And I think conversations like this is what's going to help us, because we get a chance to speak to one another and kind of, just get encouraged based off that. But yeah, like I said, I'm in recovery. So y'all keep praying for your sister.
So I think that so we're winding down to close, guys. But here it is. You guys, again, I said it earlier, you have one up from the rest, because what your parents have demonstrated to you is restraint and the ability to love unconditional. Do you know that there are a lot of children, or when you say children, people in our age group, this generation, that are not relationally intelligent or emotionally intelligent enough to hold their tongue, to be able to take the blows. So you had an example in your home, walking example, where you guys have one up. And so at some point it seems like a disadvantage. But when I hear the story, you're so further along than And it's something that I can truly, I think the people that are listening that are not PKs, right, and that are members of a church, their mindset is beginning to now shift. And preferably the next time they get ready to speak on the man or the woman of God, they'll think twice about how detrimental their words can be to the people that are connected to them and to the man and woman of God themselves. So I just want to say thank you so much for that transparency. Now I feel like I'm not even a PK, but I'm like a PK in spirit. So I feel like I have to throw hands for my bishop, because that's my spiritual father. Just kind of, listening to you all. Bishop, do you have something that you want to say?
You're on mute, Uncle John. Still on mute.
You on mute,
Uncle, you
No, okay. No, seriously, I hit the wrong button and couldn't find y'all. And y'all hollered at me. You on mute, Uncle John, and I'm talking like I know, but you didn't hear me. Let me just first say that between last week and this week, we have literally changed the game. And Sharice, I want to thank you for your availability and your sensitivity. And then I want to thank, and I'm going to start naming them. I want to thank LJ, and I want to thank Shayla and Chandler and Josh and Alana and Christian and Alexis and Deja and Claude. And so what we're going to do with these is that we're going to take them and these, we're going to step into your world, and we're going to try to edit these and do something with it, because I think the message is amazing. I've been getting texts from your parents. They've been texting me, amazing, incredible, and I was like, yes, I've got, I'm so incredibly honored that you three did this, right? And all three of you adjusted your schedules, right? Like the one of you tried to be a real estate monger and you're supposed to be in class. And okay, she gave it away. And Josh and right now Chris supposed to be somewhere out there in the streets interviewing people interviewed the Proud Boys so her daddy can come to Tallahassee and hurt somebody, right? And Josh is supposed to be just getting off work, and y'all are here and y'all are making a difference. I want to close with a final question. And I want each of you to take a stab at this. What do you believe you are called to do to make the world better? What do you believe? With all that, I mean, like my niece has 13 generations of preachers, all of that and it comes out. Well, I mean, that, and what's amazing is listening to you three, Josh, Josh, how old are you?
22.
To be 22 talking about patience.
Yes.
In relationships. I mean, I don't know anybody 22 talking like that. Christian, for all of your success, and you are having success early, to transparently talk about recovery and the strength of being able to do what you do. And we ain't gonna talk about the strength you've expressed, right? Because you're right. Your mom and your dad built something amazing, and it wasn't even their fault. It's just called the world we live in. And all three of you, Josh, your name is McKissick. There ain't too many people in the world named McKissick. Where you gonna go? Your daddy's been everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? Everywhere. Rudolph McKissick Jr. has been everywhere. Right? The campus you go, you own, he was preaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christian, your mom and dad built it from scratch after going through an amazing, painful time. I like to tell people I'm the co-founder of Open Arms. It's not really true, but I like to tell people that because he always gives me credit for the first offering, so I co-founded. So it really should be Bishop Lee Alfred Thomas, founder, Lady San Thomas, founder, and then assistant founder. So I want my own day at Open Arms as the assistant founders day. I don't want the service, just the offering. Yeah, talk about it if you want. I'm trying to retire. So, Josh, we'll start with you. Where do you see your unique journey, and what do you believe God has placed on your life to do? And you ain't got to be perfect and totally clear. Just what you hear right now. And I want you three to close us out, and then kind of drop some wisdom on us all as to what makes you unique. Because all three of you are. This has been an amazing chemistry. We're going to take this on the road. When this pandemic is over, I'm going on the road. I'm taking the PK conference, and I'm taking the 7 of y'all, and 8 of y'all, and we going on the road. And I'm going to pay you. Don't worry. I mean, you're going to get your check. But no, we're going to knock it out the box. So we'll start with my nephew, Josh.
As of right now, I feel like God has called me to just teach people love. I feel like, especially in this world today, we really need love. Tragic time in our country, especially this year, with the pandemic and all these crazy debates and whatnot. But I really feel like, God just called me to teach people love, to love people for themselves, to love their neighbors as themselves, just to love in general instead of, carrying around hatred and envy and jealousy and things like that. So yeah, I'll say love.
My next. Okay. Okay, for me, I definitely feel that because it's a constant discussion between me and God. What am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I meant to do? I can do many things. What am I supposed to do? And I feel like that's a common thing that everybody deals with. But what I've been dealing with right now is that I'm like, okay, I can sing, I can talk, I can do this, I can do that. But the one commonality is my voice. But I'm also speaking to people. And at this time, for me, I feel like I'm supposed to be an advocate for people. I have a voice. I have a platform. I have a place, to let people know what's going on, not just in in news or whatever, but I can talk to people, I can help people. And I'm not saying being an evangelist, I'm not trying to be a therapist either, but just to be an advocate for people. And then this dual thing of being able to sing, like, where does that fit in, God? Okay, well, you're recovering, but you're healing people. You're healing people with your voice. It's therapeutics at this point in God, in this kind of conversation of how to make this work, because I love people so much. I meet different people on a daily basis, and I just want to be able to heal the broken that I meet, every day. Like Josh said, showing love, being able to let them know that, hey, your condition won't last always, and it's a constant journey. So if you're a PK right now and you don't know it all, you don't have the answers, you know that you can do multiple things, you know that you've been gifted and anointed for certain things, and you just don't know the path. Hey, you can need to have conversations with God. Tell him that you're insecure because you don't really know what's going on with it. You're a little nervous. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm at this stage where I'm like, Lord, you show me what to do. I know I've been called. I know I've been anointed, but I just need God to clarify what for. And I think at this point, as we continue to walk the plan, as we continue to, find our path, that's where he's going to line things up. You were in the news to do this. You needed to learn how to speak. You have a voice because you have to be, confident when you're in front of people. And you also have this unique gift that, not everybody has. And that may put you on a platform to be able to, talk to people, to relate to people. You may have a different platform that nobody thinks about, nobody would think of. So I'm asking God right now to blow my mind, at this point, because I can't necessarily see it clearly, but he knows it. He knows exactly where I'm going to be. He knows exactly where you're going to be. So if you're having those moments of doubt or insecurity, if you're where I'm at right now, you're not alone. As a PK, it's hard because everybody is watching our every move, but I'm here to tell everybody we don't have it all together, but we know the person who does have it all together. And as long as we're connected to him, we'll be just fine. And don't worry about your path. Just connect your plan to his and it'll be okay.
Close the book. You said it. Nah. Just to piggyback off what my family has said, I think right now in this particular season, I am called to help people understand their authenticity and their presence. Really valuing what they offer to the world and digging deep to walk confidently in their purpose and understanding how to, for a lack of better words, leverage their purpose. I've been blessed with an ingenuity for business and kingdom assignment. So I'm learning how to make that go together, that God can call you to be marketplace and you can still be effective in marketplace through ministry. And it's okay to have multiple streams of income. So I think that's definitely one of my assignments right now, is to really help expose powerful persons in the kingdom of how to obtain wealth so that we can have generational economy in ourselves. And then just for people to truly understand the power that's inside of them, and that once you realize who God has called you to be and who you really, like, the value that you have and who you are, you don't have to try to imitate nobody. You don't have to try to be the other PK, like the PK over there. You don't have to try to do what they do. You don't have to try to squeeze in their lane, but just helping people understand their assignment, their purpose, their presence, and their value.
Therese, like, for real, like, seriously, like, for real, like we're supposed to end at 10:30, right? In the last 2 weeks, we're like 20 minutes over, and it has nothing to do with the fact that we've mismanaged time. You all have maximized time. Let me say this as your uncle, and as one of the people in your life that is cheering you on. You three, and really all of you, from last week to this week, and there's even more. There are others that we know of in our immediate circle, And so I probably want to do this again sometime in November. I am just so super proud of you. I know your parents are going crazy right now with excitement and enthusiasm. I see bright futures. Don't feel the pressure. Just do what you do, and it's all coming to you. You guys are amazing. As I said last week, I'll say now, because I am in the process of trying to retire. I ain't gonna be the guy 80 years old where I'm gonna have narcolepsy in the pulpit, right? And, they're not gonna have to give me a wheelchair to get in the pulpit, Josh. I promise you, Christian, I will not be doing your daddy's anniversary in 10 years. Both of us are gonna retire. All of us, Sheldon McCarter, Rudy McKissick, we all getting up out of here eventually. We done already had the conversation. Pastor Kimberly Tubble, so correct. But I'm gonna tell y'all this though. I can truthfully say when I look at Claude and Alexis and Shayla and Chandler and Deja and you three, LJ, the church is in great hands. And the world's gonna be better. Josh, you figured it out, son. All of you. Christian, I think you're so past recovery. I think you're in discovery. And when I tell you all those gifts that are on you are stupid and incredible. And Pastor McCarter, girl, you took the worst of moments and found healing and restoration. All of you are amazing. Josh, you didn't tell your whole story, so I got to bring you back so you could tell the Orlando, the Hampton part of your story, right?
Indeed.
Because man, you are victorious. All of you are incredible. We will be back next week. Next week we're going to be dealing with relationships. So I'm bringing Pastor G on, and we're just going to be in the background. Dr. Sharice and I are going to be dealing with relationships. So she's going to bring on a young adult couple and bring on a single, and she gonna lead them in talking about godly dating. Eko Shande. Yes, sir. We'll talk about godly dating. Yeah. Watch that one, y'all. And we're gonna talk about relationships. And I'm overwhelmed. Sharice, we started this about 8-9 weeks ago, and it was like 10 or 12 of us on the Zoom, right? And it started because of you, because your heart was so big for young adults until you made me do this Zoom, and look at where God took it. Here's the revelation, y'all. We'll see y'all later. Here's the revelation. Wherever you start, treat it as the beginning and don't act like it's the end. And if he wakes you up the next day, that means he's still working it out. Don't trip when you have a bad day. It may be leading to an incredible tomorrow. I love you guys so much. This has been Nightcap. Hey, Sharice, we got to get a closing song. We got to get a song. So Christian, I'm going to send you to the studio. You're going to write the Nightcap theme song. All right, everybody, we go Nightcap theme song. I'm going to need you to write the Nightcap theme song, right? And you go sing it. And we going to create a Nightcap theme song. And we go, because I'm trying to go global with this, Josh. I'm trying to go global with this. Nightcap gonna be famous. It ain't the red cup, but it's gonna be the Nightcap. We'll just leave it. All right. We love you guys so much. You three make your uncle and your aunt proud. We are super proud. She's been watching the whole night. We are super proud. She said, great job. Great job. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Amanda. And Sharice, thank you so much. Sharice, when we get our own studio, we ain't going to have to worry about Wi-Fi stuff.
Listen, you started talking about singing, and my computer was like, what? Wait a minute. And it just threw me off. Yeah.
Lady Sandy
That's
says,
what
my
love
heart
is.
is so full of joy as I watch you guys. Nothing but greatness. You allow the Lord to lead you and guide your paths. Enough said. See y'all later. Take care.
All right.
Bye,
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 y'all.
guys.
See y'all.
See y'all later.